Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rusty 78609. I just finished playing in a scramble with a bunch of old men over the age of 65 plus probably, and our team came in third. There were only 3 teams. There was a 10 under us, 11 under someone else, and a 12 under, so we didn't win anything, but that's not what I want to talk about because it doesn't bother me. We had fun and it was a beautiful day. Temperature right now 73 degrees, and this is in Llano, Texas at the Llano Golf Course. But having said that, what I want to talk about, for all you people that have been through as much life as I have, I'm 74 years old, you've gone from phones that were relatively dumb to smartphones. And if you think back, you'll realize what a change that is in a period of, say, 60 years. You know, I realize 60 years is 60 years, but things are changing exponentially now, not linearly. It's much quicker. So the next 60 years are going to see even more change. But anyway, I was born in 1945. We had no phone in our home until 1951, I think. And it was one you just picked up and talked into a receiver. And there were operators in our little hometown of Kennedy, Texas, and one of them was a girl named Patsy who was kin to me. And we were on an 8-party line. People would listen in. You'd be talking to somebody and you'd hear a click and you know somebody either picked up or hung up. Our phone number was 503W1 and our ring was 2 shorts. And but anyway, whenever I would go into town, I lived in the country, 3 miles out in the country, raised on a farm, and it was kind of a treat to go to town. Didn't go much, but when I would go into town, if I needed to get a ride home or I didn't want to walk, I would try to find out where my mother was, because sometimes she might be shopping at the grocery store or sometimes she was at PTA meetings and stuff like that. So I would just pick up a phone anywhere in town and say, "Hey Patsy, where's Mama?" And she'd say, "Well, Rusty, she just got out of a PTA meeting, and if I can find her, I'll tell her where you are," or whatever. But anyway, that's how that worked. But having said that, then a great move up, we moved to rotary dial. Can you imagine that? And that pretty much eliminated the operators, where what their job was to plug in phone numbers, and so their jobs were eliminated with rotary dial. So we think there's jobs being eliminated now with artificial intelligence, and there are. Well, believe me, that's been going on for a long time. It's nothing new. The Industrial Revolution replaced a lot of working folks, people that were working with their hands. But having said that, when we got the rotary dial phone, you put your finger in this little hole and turned it, and it had numbers 1 through 10 or 0, and 0 you could dial the operator. But anyway, having said that, we had a private line. You didn't have to worry about everybody in the world listening in on your phone calls. And then the next big move in this revolutionary thing on phones, we seem to have a fetish with, where we went to what was called a touch tone phone, where it had little squares with digits on them, and you'd go dee dee dee, you'd punch the numbers in. And in addition to that, about the same time, they came out with answering machines. Can you remember those? Yeah, some people still may have them, but they're not very rare, because everybody's smartphone does that too now, because you just set up your mailbox and you can take calls and all that stuff, even when you don't even have your phone on. So what else? Then I remember a thing called beepers. I don't know, some of y'all may remember them, but you would carry them in your pocket or on your hip, or whatever, to be cool. And if you this device had a phone number, and when somebody called that phone number, they could leave a brief message. I think, can't remember exactly how they worked, or maybe they left their phone number. You could call them back. I can't remember, but yeah, they would either beep and vibrate, or just beep, whatever you set up. But then subsequently after that, after that, we got to this thing called bag phones, or radio phones. And some people had them mounted in their cars. I had one for a while, not very long. They were too expensive. They were very expensive. To make a call was like $1.50 a minute or more. And I remember, headed home from work, and my wife then would call and say, "Hey, don't forget, pick up some bread at the grocery store." And it occurred to me I could have bought 2 loaves of bread for what that phone call cost. But having said that, moving on, then we got to flip phones. I'm sure I'm leaving some stuff out, but I'm just giving you the overview, so just to prod your memory and your recollection, so you'll think back on the history of phones and realize what we've come through to get to where we are today. And then flip phones certainly weren't smartphones, but they were semi-smart. It was you could set up a mailbox, and the range was getting a little better and so forth. And then of course now we have this wonderful device called smartphones. Now, to get a phone, you got to choose a carrier. Back then it was AT&T, and that was it. And then they busted up what they call Ma Bell into 8 little companies, or whatever many it was. And I'm not sure that made it better. I think it made it worse, but be that as it may. Now you've got several choices. You've got Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, blah, 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 and a bunch of other MNVOs or whatever that resell the signal from all of those different towers. So once you've chosen a carrier, then you pick a phone. It's either going to be an Apple phone, iOS, or an Android phone. A lot of people don't even know that exists. They just go in and buy a phone. My sister did, and she got an Apple phone. Probably paid $800 for a phone that she will use probably 1/10 or 1/20th of the available services on that phone, or whatever they call them. But then you need to know something about the phone. If you want to pick a phone, you need to know about how much RAM do you need, or how much internal storage, do you need a SIM card. You get all this jargon. You don't just get a phone, you get a technical device with all kind of components. And you want to know about the processor speed. Is it a Snapdragon 845, or is it a blah, blah, blah? Is it an LED screen or an OLED, or is it a this or that? You want to know the battery size. Is it removable? Does it have quick charge? Is it waterproof, dustproof? And then you got a camera on the phone now. The cameras on phones now are better than most cameras you could buy individually, independently, like Nikon and stuff. The cameras on smartphones now are amazingly good. That's all I use for all of my videos is the smartphone, and that's it. And it's an LG G4 for those of you that want to know. And it has optical image stabilization. That's what I was going to talk about next. So then you got to know about the camera. You want 8 megapixel, 12 megapixel, blah, 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 blah. So you got to know about megapixels, and then zoom. You want it to zoom, you want wide angle, you want optical image stabilization, or what? And then you got to pick out the color of the phone, the size of the phone. You want a large screen, small screen. Then once you finally make that decision, and all those decisions, you come up with this. There's a lot of things called apps. Do you want a weather app, or this app, and that app? Well, they're out there by the thousands. The only thing about apps is everybody agrees to all the stuff on the agreement, and that agreement basically says that these app developers can go in and gather information not only about you, but about your phone and every call you make. All the data can be mined by these app developers, and they resell that data and make money. They give away the app for free because they can make money selling the data gathered by the app. And so you think back, wasn't it nice to just pick up a phone that was supplied by the phone company at no charge and just say hello? How about that? And if you missed a call, you just did. They either had to call back or see you in town. That was enough. There were no telemarketers back then, back in the 50s, and no ads on your phone, no nothing, no pop-ups, no nothing, because there was nowhere for them to pop up. But now on your smartphone, you get ads. If you don't, well, you can turn off everything. You're still going to get them. So not only do you have to know a little bit about the phone, you got to learn all this new jargon. You got to know about gigabytes, megabytes. You got to know about internal, external storage, USBs and all this stuff. And and then next thing you're going to want to know is data speed. When you finally get your service and your access in the internet, you're going to want to know how fast the download speed is, the upload speed, and all that stuff. Is it unlimited data? That doesn't even exist, but they call it unlimited data. Does that fool people? Yeah, it's unlimited to the extent of 15 or 22 gigabytes per month, and then it's throttled back to about 3G, which is pretty close to dial-up. which, you know, if you don't remember having the old dial-up stuff, or back when computers were really slow, then you'll miss that. But then you got to set up your mail, and then you got to, again, the ads and the problem, and then whenever you call the carrier that you're with, so it used to be with AT&T back in the 50s and 60s, if you had a problem, you just called them, they came out and took care of it, and no charge. That's it. And never, no charge. And now you call Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, or whoever. First of all, you're going to be on hold for a while, and then you're going to get somebody, hopefully, that speaks your language fluently. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you do. Most of the times you don't, in my opinion. So then when you finally get technical support because your phone doesn't do this or that or this, when you get, while you're holding, it's going to tell you to call back from a landline. Well, you don't have a landline anymore. So then it's going to say, if you don't have a landline, just stay on the phone and somebody will help you. Well, they will. They'll get on the phone and they'll say, okay, first thing you got to do is take the battery, turn the power of the phone off, take the battery out, run around the block, jump up and down 16 times, do 40 push-ups, 20 leg lifts, and etc., and then come back in, put the battery back in, power it back on, da-da-da-da-da, and on it goes. And so service on the with the new carriers can be difficult at best. And so on it goes. All I can tell you is, for those of you that are in the world of smartphones, it ain't through yet. You know, that's just, we are just now at the level of smartphones. The next deal they're working on now is called a neural link, where your brain is actually linked to the internet, okay? And what they'll do, we're not there yet, but they are, there's a company by the name of Neuralink that is working on linking parts of your brain to the computer or internet or whatever to solve physical issues that can be solved using that, and then they're expanding that, and again, that will expand and expand and expand. So what will eventually happen is you'll have a chip in your brain. The carrier will be a satellite provider of some type, so that you're never away from internet service at anywhere you are in the whole world, anytime. 5G, super fast stuff. And if you need to talk to somebody, you just think it, and they're thinking it, and you're thinking it, and they're thinking it, and you're thinking it, and on it goes, and you're always connected. And guess what? There's no off switch. You can't turn it off. You're always on. You're connected, huh? Anyway, having said that, guys, I'll shut up now. But I just wanted to pass that along to you because we had a little discussion about this while we were playing golf, and most of these guys are close to my age. Some are a little older, some are a little younger, but I'm 74, so you know that I've seen a lot and done a lot and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of change that's happened in my lifetime. I mean, you go from no phone to a smartphone in your lifetime. I mean, that's a hell of a deal. That's a big loop. And then you could translate that over to cars. We're going from the ICE, internal combustion engines, ICE, to all electric vehicles, which is coming. They have them now in cities and stuff, taxi cabs and stuff. You call an Uber or whoever, and these other people, the car shows up. They don't have them in rural areas yet because there's not enough demand. But believe me, all that's coming. I think I mentioned in another video that Amazon has just ordered 100,000 all electric vans for their delivery services. And everybody, and then you get comments like, well, it's never going to work. There's not enough infrastructure. Well, think back, guys, when the gasoline engine was, the first automobiles were built and they were replacing horses. There were people back then saying, oh, it'll never work, never work. They won't be able to get gasoline. People's got gas cans, they're going to get out there in places, not going to be any gasoline. And that's true, and that probably did happen. And the same thing did and will happen with the electric car. But look what's happened since then, guys. All you naysayers better wake up, because the electric car is going to do the same thing. The infrastructure is being built out as we speak, and it's being built out exponentially, which means damn quick in English. And so, it's coming. And all I'm saying this for is just to make you aware of it. I find it very interesting, but it's good to know that these changes are coming. Most of them are going to be beneficial. There will be some downsides, as always. And we'll work through those things like we have in the past and will in the future. So I'm not a naysayer to the point that these artificial intelligence robot systems, or whatever you want to call them, neural networks and stuff, are going to eliminate the human being. What we're going to do, in my opinion, is merge with the technology and just become one with technology. Now, we can't think exactly how that's going to work. We can't envision how that will work, or what kind of humans we will be at that point. You know, you can't envision yourself being a smartphone, and that's basically what you're going to be, maybe with a few added ingredients. And so we can't think that. But having said that, I just wanted to pass that along, since it goes real well with having played golf and coming in last. You know, when there's 3 teams and you come in third, we actually played pretty good, and we missed some opportunities. You know, everybody could cry about that missed opportunity, but you know, it was fun. I enjoyed playing with these guys. I've known them for years. Fun group of guys, old guys. You know, they're not out there to prove anything. Nobody really makes a big deal. I had a great group today, and it was a lot of fun. So having said that, guys, on Highway 29 headed towards Buchanan Dam, Texas, from Llano, Texas, this is Rusty 78609 saying thumbs up, carpe diem, adios, bye-bye, buy anything you want anytime. But if you think about it, use the link to Amazon products in the description of all of my videos. Why? Because I get a small commission, and it does not cost you 1 penny. What else? Drink plenty of water. 3 or 4 quarts a day won't hurt you. It's good for you. It'll help you avoid gout, kidney stones, and it'll also help you lose weight, because you'll be full of water and you won't want to eat so much. What else? Take deep breaths. Breathe in really deep, hold it for a few seconds, and breathe out slowly. Why? Because that relieves stress, and relieving stress does what? Lowers your blood pressure. Is that good for you? You got to know it is. And then last but not least, stand guard at the door of your mind. Do not let negative Nancy or negative Ned get into your head. It's your head, your mind, your brain, your consciousness. Stand guard at the door of your mind. Having said that, guys, enjoy your day. We'll talk again probably tomorrow, I think. I'm sure. Adios.